Welcome to the Better Business Podcast. I'm your host, Austin Zellin. Join me week after week as I interview high-level entrepreneurs on their journey to success, both in business and personal development. Each week presents new stories to learn from and new ideas on how to run a better business. Stay updated with all the guests we'll have by subscribing to this podcast. Alrighty, welcome to our Better Business with Austin Zellin. Today we have a guest, Dylan, and he's going to tell us about what he's done to make his business better. And we want to uncover strategies and different things that you can do and apply to your business and run a better business at the end of the day. So, Dylan, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, what kind of business you run, and how long you've been doing it for.
Yeah, so I run a marketing agency. It's called Mindful Agency. We do brand development for people and
Okay.
personalities and brands. And we've worked with some of the largest brands in the industry, some of the largest personalities in the industry. And what we've gotten really good at is taking people who have never done anything and helping them become thought leaders in a short period of time.
Okay. Do you find that they have to have a lot of substance before they can do something like that? Like, for example, if somebody wants to be an expert or a thought leader, should they be in business or maybe have like 5, 10 years of experience? Or can you get started with just a base level of knowledge and then work your way up? Or what's like the line that you draw there?
I think the short answer is the more experience you have, the better you're going to come across.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's an up and coming influencer named Alex Hermosi, and he and he went from zero to crushing it. Everyone seems to know him in this industry
Yeah.
really quick. Why? Because he had the knowledge and experience, and he's not just some kid jumping on social media starting to talk about stuff. And
Yeah.
and so people can tell, especially the high level people,
Yeah.
the people we've worked with that have a lot of experience, they tend to grow faster
Yeah.
if they have a personality.
Yeah.
So the guys that are kind of stone faced, they're monotone, they don't really have much of a personality, they're ultimately never gonna really grow, but we can
Yeah.
try our best.
Yeah, definitely. So that totally makes sense about just having a wealth of knowledge before you're doing content like this and trying to grow a personal brand. And I think that definitely contributed to Alex's success. I mean, he's had all this experience, he's done really big things, and now he's building a brand off of that success. So there's a strong foundation there. And I've seen it happen with multiple people before where they try to build a brand with no experience. And then it might work for a little bit, but after some time, people realize, like, hey, this guy maybe doesn't actually know what he's talking about. So that's kind of where that doesn't work out. So, how do you see business? Like, what is it for you? Is it a lifestyle? Is it just a tool? Do you see business as maybe just a fun game? Like, I know some people, they're just in business because it's a game to them. It's like Monopoly. They're like, oh yeah, I use this to make money. It's fun. It's cool, but that's not my life. So they have a really sharp separation there. So what is it like for you? How do you see business?
So I'm not the Lamborghini guru. I'm not the guy who's trying to, like, acquire all this stuff and build a business to flex on the world.
Yeah.
For me, it's just like like you can kinda choose different paths in life. You go be a cashier, you can go to school and become a doctor, you can, like, there's all these different paths when you're born you can choose. I, for some reason, was always inspired by the idea of creating business.
Yeah.
Something cool about it. I don't know what it was, and so, it's not really the money for me, like, that's cool, it's a good aspect of it, but for me, it's just, like, it's fun to just play the game of business, right? And it's
Yeah.
fun to be able to change lives, help people, get paid for it, and have influence.
Yeah. And so for you, it's basically like a way of life. You love being a businessman. You love the
Sure.
process. You love being in that day to day, right?
Yeah, except when, uh, everything's like ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
Seasons of expansion, seasons of contraction. The
Yeah.
seasons of contraction in business suck because
Yeah.
they're the periods where I'm spending, 80 hours a week, don't get to talk to my family. And so it gets hard. But in seasons of expansion, that's where it's fun. And I think it's necessary because just like in nature, right? We have feast and famine.
Hmm.
And, even with the human body, we have feast and famine. Some people say, "Dylan, you look like you've been feasting a lot. Maybe you should have a period of famine." But the truth is that in business, the famine cr allows you to thrive even greater in the feast.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think that businesses would not become better or as good as they can become if there were no seasons of famine and there were no seasons of like contraction, because that's when you're building all the strong pillars in your business that do take you to those heights when it is a feasting season. So it's very interesting that you bring that up because I do think that people need to understand what they can do in order to weather those storms, in order to weather those tough times and be more successful in the good times. So, how important do you think it is for people to prepare themselves before they go into a season of famine? Now, of course, we can't predict. We don't know what it's going to be. Maybe the real estate market is going to crash. Maybe the economy is going to crash. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. But what can people like realistically do to prepare themselves for times like that so that they don't go out of business, but grow out of that moment?
So one of the best things to do is intentionally put yourself in a famine state, right? So if you
Mm,
look at the human body is designed, uh, it actually thrives under stress, intentional stress,
yeah,
right? So there's trend of uh, what's it called? Intermittent fasting, right?
yeah,
Where you fast for a period of time. And I think in the same thing with business. If you can get to the point where you can operate on a lean budget, save cash, well, then when the rest of the world is falling, you're positioned well to capitalize on it. So I think
mm,
that's like that would be one thing I do. The other thing I would do is look for opportunities to create partnerships because there's going to be people who in times of hardship have different skill sets. And so if you can
yeah,
find and this is one of the things that's led to a lot of the stuff I've created is partnerships. We're creating really powerful. I call it the SP method, the strategic partnership method, where everything I do, I'm looking at how do we create strategic partnerships to make this a win.
yeah. That totally makes sense because in a sense it's kind of like diversification. You're diversifying your strengths. You're not you may it's not an investment portfolio, but it kind of is very similar because if you're a business that does XYZ, you can partner with other businesses who do similar things and then you're working together as a team or even potentially bringing those companies in to do or to work alongside with you and create more strength in your organization. Now, I was actually reading about Spartan soldiers. So something interesting that you're bringing up here reminds me of what I was reading, and at least this is what the article said. They trained so rigorously during times of training that they felt like going to battle was a vacation. And I just thought that was so interesting. Imagine if all business people trained so rigorously, or they put themselves into tough situations in training when things were great, so that when things weren't so great, they felt like, "Oh, now it's time to
Mhm.
relax. Now it's time to have a good time."
I've always wondered why, one of my friends just, ran an Ironman up in California, the 140.6 mile,
Yeah.
right?
Wow, that's
And,
sick.
yeah, it's crazy. My dad actually has done about 4 or 5 halves. He was like 260 pounds, had epiphany one day, he's like, "I can't live like this."
Yeah.
And, now he's running freaking Ironmans, which is crazy.
Well,
But, I'm like, "Why don't these guys train like a triple Ironman? Why do they train, just to do enough? I never understood
mm,
or marathon runners, right?
yeah.
Why do they train to run 22 miles and then they gotta run 26.3 on the day of the marathon?
Yeah.
Why not just train to run 50 miles and then for you, the actual race is easy?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I don't know.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know why that
yeah.
is.
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting strategy, and I'd be curious to find out if there are people that do that. That do train above and beyond what they actually need to do because then it feels, it's a relaxing time. They're just having a nice jog on a Sunday morning instead of like, oh my God, I only trade for 20
Right.
miles, but I have to run 26. So, yeah, definitely interesting. So, that's something that I think business owners and people who are entrepreneurs and working inside somebody else's business, they can do that to create a better business. They can work hard to, um, maximize what they have now instead of enjoying good times. And then when times are bad, they are much better off than people who were just relaxing and not training for those times. So definitely. So what do you think people can do to improve their business? Like how can they run a better business in today's world? I know we have a lot of things that are changing. We have new technology coming out, we have artificial intelligence, we have all these different macroeconomic trends, sustainability, green energy. What can people do in today's world to run a better business?
Um, okay, well, you touched on technology. So for me, I
You're
strongly
a big
believe
tech guy.
Yeah, I strongly believe that tech is the future,
Yeah.
and if you're not finding ways to use it, there's Ray Dalio, right? He wrote the book called Principles, phenomenal book. He runs Vanguard, which is obviously a large fund, and he talked about how whenever he saw inconsistencies in his business, he would create tech solutions to solve it. So he's literally for decades building tech and software around solving solutions in his business, where now, he was ahead of the game on this, but he was doing algorithmic trading before it was, really common for
Yeah.
companies to be doing this. So I think that every organization should be identifying, okay, what are the solutions? Here's the easiest one right now. Right now, we're in a place where AI is moving very fast. And I think that as a starting point, start with one area of your business, which would be for many companies, customer service, and just start looking at AI solutions. There's an app called Intercom. We use them for customer support. And what's cool is you create an article a knowledge base of all the frequently asked questions for your organization.
Yeah.
They have a tool called Fin, where it'll it's basically using that plus ChatGPT,
Mhm.
but it's super streamlined, where it'll literally respond to tickets, and every ticket that's answered, they charge you a buck, $1.
Mm.
If you think about it, when we measured how much time a customer service rep was working, they're spending about 15 minutes per ticket.
Mm.
So if I'm paying my rep, even on the low end, for maybe someone overseas, $10 an hour,
Mhm.
I'm actually cutting my cost in half, more than half, about 60% by using this tool. So
Mm.
I just think, like, look at the marketplace, see what tools are out there, and if there isn't something that exists, just go and create your own. There's companies that will build tech for you in the company.
Interesting. So, do you know any good companies that can build tech? Like, for example, if I wanted to build something in my company, like that's a great example that can help somebody run a better business because they're tightening their expenses and they're still getting all that customer service support that's being provided to their customers. So, I think that's a great point right there. But if I wanted to build something custom for my company, or maybe one of our viewers wants to build something, where should they look? Should they just Google it? Should they reach out to maybe a company that you know? What are your thoughts on that?
So I'll tell you what I did, right? I built tech for my company. I'm a product of the product. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
And, the first thing I did was I went to Upwork and I found a
Upwork.
guy to do it for me. The product was like, I'm telling you, like, the jankiest thing you ever seen, and customers are like, "I don't know." It made the experience worse than better.
Oh,
So
wow.
so then I went out and I found a software development agency to
Yeah.
do it, and I paid them a fortune to build me this product, and they literally delivered me, at the end of it, a product that wasn't working. They sat down, had this big meeting where they made this custom video about everything. They're like, "Ready to see it?" And then when we actually looked at the app, it was broken.
Wow.
So I ended up going and for the next 6 months building my own dev team. So I went and I found, talent overseas, some of the highest quality people you can imagine, guys and girls that would be 10x the cost, if they were, in the United States or North America, and, I now have my own dev team. So I think that depends on the solution you're looking for. Ultimately, if you're trying to be a tech company, you probably need your own team.
Yeah.
But, I think I'm gonna probably start taking on clients just because I noticed that there's a void in the marketplace,
Mhm.
and, my terrible experiences have allowed me to create what I believe to be an amazing, process to build tech.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I think that's really cool. So I've never thought of building my own tech. I always thought of maybe like acquiring somebody else's, like once it works,
Mm.
maybe acquire that company or acquire something else that works together with what I'm doing. But that's an interesting perspective for sure. So I know you've been able to successfully scale your company. What things have you done to scale your company quickly? So maybe like 3 to 5 things that you think people can apply to their business in order to scale faster and stronger. We don't want to scale too fast because things could break then. But we want to scale appropriately to where they can see the growth that they want and still be able to fulfill on everything that they committed to.
Okay, so, there's 3 things. 1, survey, test, scale.
Mm,
I'll give you so survey. So, a lot of people, they create this product they think is gonna be, like, the winning product, but
yeah,
the marketplace doesn't want it.
there's
And
no
so,
demand.
whatever you have to survey your audience, do it. If you have an email list, even if it's 1,000 people, blast it out. If it's your whatever you can do to survey the marketplace.
Hmm.
I'll tell you how I survey it. It's actually part of the testing phase for us. Which testing phase, right? So after we've surveyed, we figured, okay, people want this product.
Yeah.
Let's create the lowest cost test to see if it actually works. So
Mm,
here's what we do. I'll literally throw up ads on Facebook, and we'll run ads to a page that's an opt-in page that explains the product. They click to sign up. It just leads them to a broken page and says, "Hey, sorry, 404 error. Our team will email you." And that way, we can actually look and say, okay, like, can we get people to at least reach out to us and say, I'm interested in this product? And we'll set a KPI, let's say $5 a lead.
mhm.
And if we hit the KPI, we'll build the next layer. If we don't hit
Mhm.
the KPI, we spent 3 hours making something and it's, it doesn't matter. And
Mm.
then, the third stage, right? We've surveyed the audience. We know what they want. We've tested it with the lowest cost possible. Step 3 is to scale, which, a lot of people just think, "Let me just throw money at it and scale."
Mhm.
But for me, I still look at the lean way to do it, which is through partnerships.
Mm.
So, one of the best ways to do is if you can go find people who have your audience, you can give that person a commission to put you in front of them,
Mhm.
and then you don't have to pay upfront. Instead, you're just giving them a commission every time a product's been, purchased. You can do that through influencers. You can do it through, industry affiliates. You can do it with people. Let's say you sell cheeseburgers. You could do it with a pizza restaurant, and you guys could, partner with each other. So,
Yeah. Interesting. So, what kind of strategic partnerships have you had in your business? I really like that strategic partnership aspect of it. Do you find it's mostly people that can add on to what you're already doing, or do you outsource some of the fulfillment on what you're doing? Like, let's say you have a marketing agency, and part of what you do is building websites for people. So, do you just outsource building websites to a strategic partner who may also have clients for marketing, or like how do you handle that situation?
so there's two
You see
elements.
what I'm saying there?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
There's two elements of running a business. There's the growth and the fulfillment.
Yep.
I actually discovered this thing called the growth fulfillment paradox, where you can't do both as a business owner. You just can't. You will drop the ball too many times. Especially as a solopreneur. Imagine the one person, one woman business. She's wearing 11 hats: customer service, sales, marketing,
Mhm.
operations, leadership. Leading herself. But the whole thing is like you can't do it. So
Yeah.
you need to, starting off, find partners for one side of the business, either the growing of it or the fulfillment of it. And then you eventually, as you scale the business, you eventually have partners that do both.
Mm.
Um, I'll give you an example for me. I run in Mindful Agency, my PR firm. We have things that we do and we have things we don't do.
Yeah.
We're not going to. Uh, I don't know. We've got partners that, for example, get on radio. I'm not don't really have an interest in pitching you to radio. I'll pitch you to podcasts. I'll get you on
Yeah.
shows. But we have partners that do radio. So what we'll do is we'll just either white label it.
Yeah.
We'll pay the guy $1,000, charge our client 2,000, or we'll just connect them and we get a kickback on the back end.
Mm.
That's fulfillment. And then on sales, the same thing. Let's say that one of our customers happens to also have clients of theirs that are our clients. We'll have them intro us and we'll give them a commission. And that's just the way it's structured. So we're doing both the growth side, getting the customers, and we're partnering with people on the fulfillment side to help serve our customers
Yeah. That makes sense. So it's kinda like affiliate marketing or like a referral
on
program.
steroids. Yeah.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I know a lot of these big companies have been able to scale, through affiliate marketing, even like Go High Level and stuff like
Mhm.
that. They're super big on
Oh, they
that.
crush it.
Yeah, and it's I think mostly due to the fact that they're just really good at affiliate marketing. And so getting people in the door and, like free trials and stuff like that. So I'm always looking for ways that I could potentially do that in my business and give people a trial of something and so they can see success. And then of course they could take a next step with this if they want to. So are there any like on the software side of things, if we want to scale a business or we want to build a better business or a stronger business on the software side of things, are there any tools that have really made just like a huge difference for you? Like something that you're like, man, I can't live without this one tool.
Yeah. There's a few. I'll just give you kind of like the key ones. So there's an AI tool called Merlin.
Merlin.
Yeah, Merlin.ai. Super fascinating. It's a Chrome extension, lives in Chrome.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the way it works is it follows you wherever you go. So I go to YouTube. Let's say we're doing a podcast. I'm interviewing you.
Yeah.
I can go to YouTube and I can open up in 3 tabs the podcast you've been on.
Mm-hmm.
Merlin will actually transcribe it, pull it into a little extension on the side of your page,
Mm-hmm.
and you can say, "Based on this podcast with Austin, give me 10 questions I should ask him." And
Mm.
it'll literally do that. Or give me his bio, write a bio. So that's great. It just follows you around.
It's
The
kind of cool. It's like a personal assistant.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like a personal assistant that,
Yeah.
doesn't, take sick days, doesn't ever, lie to you, and it's free to use. So,
Yeah.
that's one. The other one
That's
is,
awesome.
Opus Pro. So Opus Pro is actually something that I think would put most editors out of business. I actually think that the smart editors are using it, but have you heard of Opus?
No, I haven't.
Dude, it's gonna blow your mind. You literally put in this an hour-long podcast or whatever piece of content, it chops it up into short form reels, It
Mm.
adds the captions, it adds the emojis, it adds little sound effects, and, it does it in 5 minutes.
Wow,
So
that's
you could
crazy.
have 10 reels from this podcast we're doing right now,
Yeah.
like that, for $20 a month.
Wow. And is it pretty good? Like, have you tried it?
It didn't used to be good when I first tried it 4 months ago, and
Yeah.
now it's actually good. The way I
Awesome.
use it now is I'll chop up the content into the bits I want, and I'll
Yeah.
just have it add the captions and the emojis,
Mm.
and, it does the Hormozy style captions,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's really
I'll
cool.
give
So
you one
that's like
I'll give
an
you one more, the
yeah.
third one, which is, privacy. So privacy.com, it's actually, really fascinating. So what it does is you create virtual, cards for you can use it for your personal life or your business. So every time you sign up for a new application, you basically take a new credit card, you put it in there, and that way you know how many times, like, I'll sign up for something for a free trial, and then, like, I probably have 10 grand a month of software I don't even know I'm paying for.
Mhm.
And so with privacy, it's all in one place, and you can literally just, like, turn off cards, and it'll just cancel it right there. You don't
Wow.
have to go, like, try to chase down the support email and, like,
That's
explain
awesome.
why you wanna cancel and all this stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So is it like the card just stops working and then they're emailing you like, "Hey, your card stopped working,"
Yeah, but,
or
like,
do they reach out and, like, on your behalf, do they negotiate
no,
the
no. So
cancellation?
there's a lot of apps that do that. Like
Okay.
Truebill is one of them, Rocket Money. They
Yeah.
try to negotiate. It's not like that. It's
Okay,
just
gotcha.
it's just you're basically getting the way it is.
Little virtual card.
It's basically a prepaid card
Yeah.
that you just it's behind the scenes reloading every time there's a transaction.
Yeah.
So you just basically virtually cutting up the prepaid card.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really cool, man.
yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Those are actually really useful tools. I think people could benefit from that. The first one was Merlin. So
Mhm.
if you guys need a personal assistant, Merlin is definitely
That
the way
doesn't
to
take
go.
sick days or lie to you.
Doesn't take sick days, doesn't lie to you, no salary. It's free, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's free.
That's free. And then we have Opus, which does video edits. So you can create tons of fun reels with that. And then the last one, privacy.com. Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to check them out for sure. Okay, cool. So kind of maybe taking a step back, if we have an entrepreneur watching this or a business owner and they are just like, okay, there's so many things that I could do to make my business better. There's like I could do this, I could do that, I can scale, I can use privacy.com, I can use Opus. Where is like from your experience, where should people start? What should they look at? Should they look at increasing sales? Should they look at their marketing? Should they look at their website? Should they look at customer experience? Maybe just go back to their mission, vision, and values. Like, is that solid? Like, where can people start to actionably have an impact on their business?
The way I look at it is like, what's the high leverage thing where you pull a string and it has a big impact? Because
Mm-hmm.
there's a million ways you could affect a business. But what's going to be the thing where you have the highest leverage? I'll tell you the way I look at it is you need something to sell
Mm-hmm.
and you need it to be good enough where people actually want to buy it,
Yeah.
right? And then you need to have a way to acquire customers, and then you need to have a way to fulfill them
Mm-hmm.
and actually provide them a service.
Yeah.
If you're creating a company, those are the only three things, but in that order. So again, people try to think they think that if I build this amazing product, there's a field of dreams, right? If you build it, they will come. It's the famous baseball movie, and it's not true, right? You're not just gonna build a whole empire. So
Yeah.
start with an idea of what I think I'm gonna sell, then find a way to get the customers. And I think if someone's already generating, let's say they're already doing a couple $1,000,000 a year in sales, and they want to take a leap to the next level,
Yeah.
I think organic is going to be one of the most powerful things they can do. So
And what do you mean by that?
so anyone who's ever had an organic lead reach out to them and say, "Hey, I'm interested in your product."
Yeah.
They know that they're like laydowns. Like the guys and girls that are influencers that have massive personalities and all their deals come from organic social media. So what I mean by organic is search traffic. So someone's organically searching for you on Google or
Okay.
a search
And
engine.
they go to their website?
They go to the website, yeah.
Okay.
Two is they through content. So they see you on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube, whatever.
Mhm.
And then the third thing is through referrals. And then the opposite of that, right? People are like, oh, that's where I get all my business from. Awesome, you're lucky. Because the other side is paid traffic, where you're running ads, you're doing promotions, you're putting your attorneys getting on a billboard. Like that's all paid.
Yeah.
If you can build the organic lead flow, your business will double, triple overnight.
Mm.
Because your sales team, or if you're the one doing sales, is going to jump on and the person's going to say, how much? And I have, two or three questions. And then where do I swipe?
Mhm.
And whereas when you're dealing with cold traffic, paid traffic, you're basically having to sell people, and they don't come in problem aware or solution aware. They're
Yeah.
coming in because you got in front of them and they gave you their info.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you think is the best way for somebody to increase that organic traffic? It sounds like maybe building a personal brand or just getting more brand awareness, maybe like sponsorships. I know some people like are really big on sponsorships. They're sponsoring every event out there. They're like, getting in front of these people. They're doing charity events, whatever it is. And so that's not necessarily paid traffic, but it does generate a lot of organic leads for them, I believe.
Probably, yeah, it probably does. There's a level, right? If you're doing 10, 20, $30 million a year, it might make sense for you to start sponsoring events.
Yeah.
If you're doing under $10 million a year, there's way higher leverage things you can be doing.
Mm,
Paying 10 grand to go, have a booth at an event,
yeah.
or 100 grand if it's a big event, isn't gonna, it will, but like that's a big risk for someone to take.
Hmm.
So what I would say is the thing to do is use social media to
Yeah.
create content, and there's basically
And that's free,
it's free.
right?
Actually, we're in Vegas right now, and the way I look at social media, it's they designed it psychologically around gambling. They actually
Hmm.
have in Vegas here, they have a secret casino that's a test casino where you can go and they do these different tests to see how they can make you spend more money and stay longer.
Interesting.
But
Wait,
social
which
media has done the
casino is
same.
that?
What's that?
Which casino is that?
Well, it's not here. It's off the strip. It's like in a private location.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But basically and
So they're just testing games to see which one people will spend more money on.
games, lighting, smells.
Mm,
Yeah, the way that you play a game.
yeah,
It's all right that, there's big pharma, there's big tech. There's also,
big
big
casino.
gaming. Yeah. Yeah. But I think
Yeah.
it's kind of more obvious that the casino industry is taking people's money.
Yep.
Whereas with pharma and big tech, people aren't as aware of it. They
Mm,
think that they kind of come in with this pitch of we're here to help the world,
yeah.
and the opposite's true.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But when it comes to social media, uh, it's like a slot machine. Imagine you walk in a casino, every single slot machine's free. You can play it as many times as you want, and whatever wins, wins. It's the same way as social media. Right now, there's
Mm,
no cost to pay and to play, and eventually there will be. Even Twitter's, X is now doing it where you have to pay $8 a month to have your content show. The other platforms will follow eventually. So while it's free right
interesting.
now and
Yeah,
everyone's on an even playing field, you might as well use it.
interesting. That's actually I've never thought about it that way, but it could potentially become a place where it's like, okay, you wanna post a reel? $5.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or a subscription, 20 bucks a month. That's what X did, is if you don't pay the $8 fee,
yeah.
they're gonna suppress your content.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's crazy. Yeah, I could see why they'd wanna do that because more and more people are starting to post content and people want that attention. Attention is becoming very expensive. Everybody's competing for that same attention. So, it sounds like if you wanna grow your business now, you wanna have a bigger business, a better business, you gotta start pumping out that content while it's free. Now, to kinda dovetail off of that,
How
I
do you
don't
build an audience?
yeah, how do you build an audience? And, yeah, let's start there. Let's start there.
So, it's really hard right now to build an audience.
Yeah.
So you have to have 3 things in place. 1, you have to have authority. So people aren't gonna follow you if you have 7 followers and photos of your cat.
Yep.
You need to
Crazy
develop
cat
that
lady.
authority. What's that? Crazy.
Crazy cat
Yeah,
lady.
dude, no one cares about that person, right? So the
Hey,
thing
I like
is,
the cat videos.
I like the cat videos. I don't like the cat lady. I follow the cat pages,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the cat lady
Yeah.
pages. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
She's in, Kansas, and her thing says knitting and cats, like, those are her 2 hobbies.
Yep.
But, so here's the thing with it is, like, get a personal brand website,
Yep.
get a little bit of press about yourself,
Okay.
post some good content.
Mhm.
That's your starting point. Then
Yep.
from there, you need to make a little bit of content, figure out what are you gonna say, create some videos, just talk to the camera, give tips, like, that's the easiest thing to do. But then the 3rd tier is like, "Okay, now that I've done that, I've got authority, I got some content. How do I get people to come to the page?"
Mm.
And here's the way it's done. Um, because it's so hard to grow organically right now, you have to know how to hack an audience, okay? And, I gotta be careful 'cause social media algorithms hate the word hack, by the way.
W
Like,
We're
they
gonna have to
yeah,
bleep you
so
out
it's
there,
a
sir.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like they think I'm swearing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 4-letter word that ends with CK. So basically, I call it audience hacking.
Yeah.
So you go and you find people who already have an audience, and you find a way to get in front of them.
Okay.
So here's a couple ways: podcasts,
Yep.
uh, um, collaborative post. You can now have, I think, 3 people on a post on social media.
Yep.
So you can post something, I can post something, and we can add one third person, and it's shows on all our pages.
Mhm.
If someone has more followers than you or more real followers than you, you'll be able to hack some of that audience over.
Mhm.
And then the final thing is, the pinnacle of all of it is getting on stages. If you can get in front of someone's audience who all these people paid to travel there and be there,
Yeah.
and you're speaking on stage in the authority position, that's like the best way to grow a real audience of people who want to buy your stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that, and that's been one huge, driver in my own business is being able to speak on stages. Now, that's kind of the hard part. It's like, okay, if I've never spoken on a stage, how do I start speaking on stages? So, for me, it was kind of relationship based. It was like, hey, I know my friend is hosting an event, or maybe I host my own event, and then I use that opportunity to be able to share something of value that is either maybe from my course or from my experience, and over time you just get referred to other stages. So it is a pretty cool snowball effect to see there, and to have people refer you to other stages, and you just start growing that audience. Now, as far as like posting content on social media, how do you decide what is valuable? Is it what you want to post, or are you like, hey, I think this would be cool, let me post it, or oh, I like, I like cats, or I like cars, let me post that? Or are you looking from the eyes of the consumer and you're like, would the person play this casino game, so to speak? Would they be attracted to this thing? Are they gonna stop and watch my reel? And are you basing your content off of that, or just whatever comes to mind? You're like, oh, today we're gonna talk about, car washes.
uh, so the best way to get anything you want in life is to find someone who has it and convince them to show you how they
Hmm.
got it. The way you do that with social media is you just look at what the most viral people are posting and you just do your own version of it.
Hmm.
So I think like you can go reinvent the wheel, and I do that with some of my content because I just want to post some stuff like sorry, shoot me. Like I just want to post this today. Like that's
Yeah,
like I made a funny video about donuts or something. I was
donuts.
like, I used to eat uh one box of donuts. Then I realized it's like 2,000 calories in one sitting. So now I switched to crumble cookies. I realized it's only 1,000 calories to eat a whole box.
Yeah,
And just like I just sometimes like to joke like that. But
yeah,
for the most part, it's looking at what's working out there,
yeah.
bringing it into your own stuff. And then here's the key. Here's the thing that separates viral videos. I've studied thousands of them from those that never take off
Yeah.
is you have to draw out the main point. If you tell them what the video is about too soon, it's like, in a relationship, is you kind of have to chase, right? The person who's chasing uh the person who's kind of playing the games in a relationship always seems to be ahead. Same thing
Mm,
with social media. If you can just tease a little bit. So here's an example. There's 5 new methods that you can use to get six-pack abs. And it's not eating well, it's not doing cardio. In fact, this is something and I'm dragging it out, right?
yeah,
And then you just tell them the thing at the end.
yeah.
The problem that 90% of people do is they say, "Oh, this is you have to instead of doing this, you need to do this." And then
Hmm.
they give reasons why.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's how I look at content.
So they go into the details after giving the main punchline, and people are like, "Oh, okay, cool, next."
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it totally makes sense. And so that kind of brings me to my last point of content. Um, we may see all these influencers posting certain things, and maybe that's who they are authentically. But if maybe the person watching this, they want to start posting content, but that's not who they are, and that's not authentic to them, doesn't feel real to them. Should they stick to whatever they're seeing going viral and trying to be like that, trying to be that person, or should they stick to their authentic self when creating their content and creating a brand out of that?
Uh, so the answer is both.
Mhm.
You have to find a way to if you're not being you, it's never gonna work. You're gonna get sick of it, you're gonna feel torn,
Yeah.
whatever it is. You're gonna be asked to speak on stage one day about something that you don't care about. So
Yeah.
the thing is find where
It's
you
not
can pair the
fulfilling.
2.
Yeah.
So for you, you like nice clothes, you like, you're well put together, but you're not gonna, you don't talk about that. What you do is you put them on and you talk about business, and
Mhm.
you can pair the 2. So I think, if you can find, like, what's authentically you and pair it with something that's viral worthy, you have the perfect blend.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, you heard it from Dylan himself. There's so many cool tools that you can be using in your business, like Opus and all those tools that we talked about. And of course, it sounds like one of the best ways to start scaling your business is through that organic traffic, that organic content. and specifically authentic social media content while it's free, because it might not be free in a while. So we want to make sure that you're in a position to succeed with that and use that content to grow a better business. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. And we'll see you all on the next episode.